And we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. It's Sunday, October 10th, 2021. It is 9:22 a.m. Pacific time. Welcome to another live stream. It's Andrew back again, and we've got a lot to talk about. I got a late start this morning, so my apologies. I overslept because I've been burning the midnight oil, as they say, or burning the midnight oil, right? Anyway, working overtime to get you these videos. I did release the Surface Pro 8 yesterday, and it is doing very, very well. So good to see that there is a lot of interest in that video. And I think there's interest in the product. We're going to talk about that in a moment. I see we already have 29 of you watching already. Let me say hello to a few people. Good to see Nadine is here. Good morning to you. And let's go say hello to William. Slightly late start. I apologize once again, but did oversleep. Good morning to Olaf. How are you, my friend? And Raphael, once again, good to see you. Jan Henrik, once again to see a good member of the channel. I salute you also, JS. Z Baptiste, hello, my friend. Same to you, Michelle. And Selwyn, I try not going to go past, I know there's football on, so usually the games I always start at 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific. So sorry about the late start. We'll hopefully keep it to by 10 o'clock. Hopefully we should be done. I don't know. But last live stream I did this past week actually went a little bit longer than anticipated. We had a really good live stream talking about the Surface Laptop Studio. Hello to Mirko. So we got 42 of you watching, and it's good to see everybody. So we're going to start off with the Surface Pro 8. I know some of you are going to be filing in as the live stream goes on. So I know I'm a little bit late, so I would like to get right to business. We have 35 of you, according to my stats here, that are watching. What we have here, of course, is the Surface Pro 8, a very much anticipated update in the Surface Pro line. And I think it's the most significant update since the Surface Pro 3. Now, I just right off the bat, I can tell you I am enjoying it a lot more than the Surface Laptop Studio, and I'm kind of surprised by that. They are to me different devices, but I think this is going to appeal more to the mainstream. I think the Surface Laptop Studio, which we'll also take a look at once again here. I have it here. That video is almost done as far as that full review. I should have it later today or tomorrow, depending on how well I do in terms of the editing. I did test the battery life on the Surface Laptop Studio, and I did mention it in the last live stream, so it's no secret here. I got 13 plus hours, which means on my test, you're going to look at around 10 to 11 hours of real-world mixed usage, depending on what you're doing. Everybody's use case scenario is different, so your mileage may vary. Surface Pro 8, I guess I'm going to anticipate 7 to 8 hours. I'm still in the middle of testing that. I'm not expecting groundbreaking battery life and that form factor. They just don't have the biggest of batteries in that. I think it's 51 watt hour batteries. So you're not going to get as well. You're not going to do as well in battery life. Now, I did pick up, and what we're looking at here is, of course, that Surface Pro 8, and it's the first thing you're going to notice right off the bat. And let me put this in. One thing you're going to notice right off the bat is the glossy display. Yes, it is still highly reflective, and that was one of my cons in my unboxing and first look video that I released yesterday. And I'm not the biggest fan of such a highly reflective display. There is no anti-reflective coating on it. So the thing about that is that it can get a kind of annoying depending on your lighting conditions. And of course, I'm in a studio with many lights in here, so it's going to be exacerbated to an extent. But it is a glossy display, and that was something that did plague the previous models, previous generations. But there is a great thing that has happened to the display, and I think you pretty much can see it, and I've mentioned it in the video. You now get smaller bezels, which is a very welcome addition indeed. You can see it here on this side shot. And that's because they went to a 13-inch display, so we've got not only smaller bezels, but larger display, more screen real estate. And it's a high-resolution display. It's 2880 by 1920. That is a 3:2 aspect ratio, and they're calling this the flow display, or the whatever they call their displays. I keep forgetting right off the top of my head. This is a flow display. So this means 120 hertz. Now, out of the box, this is a 60 hertz display. It's a very bright display. They claim it's 450 nits. I got 441 nits. No fingerprint scanner, by the way, Jeremy. You have Windows Hello camera. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But it is a 120 hertz. If you go to the settings, you can switch it out to 120 hertz for the more smooth scrolling. It's a Pixel Sense Flow display. That's the name of it. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired, but that's okay. Most people will get used to the glossy display after using it for a while. Yes, I agree to that. That is true. Good to see Paul here as well. But I am liking this display quite a bit, with the caveat that it is glossy, it is reflective, and just something to be aware of. Not a deal breaker, but it is something you need to be aware of when purchasing this. Now, the other thing you're going to want to know is there is a new pen on this, and you can see it here in the keyboard cover, which are separate purchases. We'll talk about that in a moment. So you got the new Slim Pen 2, and it's got haptic feedback, and I am liking it quite a bit. It is a big improvement over the previous model, and you can see the Carpenter style shape that it has, and it does really do the job. And I got to tell you, inking on it has been good so far. And you can see here, it just slots right in there. And then, of course, when you put up the keyboard, it is hidden away. So you don't lose it. It's somewhere to store. It charges there, charges very fast. I forget the numbers on how long you need to charge it to give you a nice hour or so, but it's seconds. It's a matter of seconds. And it is pretty good to use for taking notes and sketching out artwork. Now, the keyboard is also pretty good, even on this high angled typing angle here. You can see it here. You get a raised typing angle, which makes it pretty comfortable, and it's pretty sturdy. There's less flex than in previous iterations. I think they did a good job on that. It's got the Alcantara here. You can see it there. Now, it comes in the different colors, of course. Now, you can get the Surface Pro 8 in platinum, which I have here, or graphite, which is like a blackish color, dark black type color, and very similar to, I guess, what we saw at the Surface Pro X. So those are your two choices of colors as far as the unit is concerned. The Surface Signature cover, type cover, comes in different colors. I think red, blue, platinum, black. You get some choices there. So you can always swap them out and mix and match. But it is expensive. So let's talk pricing, because what we're looking at here, and I have the Core i5 model, which is the entry-level model, and that starts at $1,099.99, $1,100. And you get a Core i5, 1135 G7, 128 gigabytes of storage, which is paltry. I guess I would recommend not buying that one. We'll talk about that. And you only get 8 gigabytes of LPDDR4X RAM. Now, that is an improvement from the entry level from last year's model, which started at a paltry 4 gigabytes of RAM. So at least they got rid of that 4 gigabyte useless SKU, and now you have a more usable 8 gigabytes of RAM. Although 128, in terms of the storage, to get 128 gigabytes should be 256 in my opinion. Now, having said that, you can, and I'll show you here, let's unplug this for now. You can, and let's go top down, swap out the SSD, and I'm going to show you right now. You can take a SIM ejector tool that you normally get with a smartphone. You put it in the pinhole there, and there it is. It's off. It just popped right off. And as you can see, and I'll zoom in, as you can see, it is replaceable. Now, this is only 128 gigabytes, and I would recommend going with a minimum of 512 if you can. Now, these are not the easiest to find either, and I'll get to all your questions in a moment. I'm only one person here. We have 61 of you watching, but you only get the 128 on that entry-level model. You can swap it out if you can find one of these smaller sized, and I think, are these 2230 as opposed to the 2280? I always forget, but whatever this miniature SSD size is, not the easiest to find, but if you do get it, then you are able to swap it out yourself. So I do like that. Now, Jeremy says, my problem with the Surface devices is while they are great devices, they always have a chip behind I believe they should have released this with the new Alder Lake chips, but they are not available yet. Yeah, my guess, Jeremy, my guess is they probably would have loved to put Alder Lake on this, but like you said, I don't think Alder Lake is ready just yet. And I don't think we're going to see Alder Lake until for a while now. So we're going to have to see how that all comes out as far as when that's going to be released, hopefully sooner rather than later. So they had to go with the Tiger Lake chip, which of course was released this year or late last year. And that's where you are standing right now with that. You can put that right back on as you see here. And let's go over here. And then as you can see, this is the Core i5 model. Now, when I'm getting back to the pricing, now for $100 more, you can get to 256. And then let's take a look at some of the pricing here. If I go here. And give me a second as that loads up. Let's get it ready here. There it is. Okay, so if we go here, let's configure the Surface Pro 8. So here you can see it's $1099. So $1099 is 8 gigabytes, 128, as I mentioned. Then you can go up for another $100. You can get, for $1,200, you can get with 256. So everything's the same except you're doubling the storage. Then you could bump up to 256 and 16 gigabytes of RAM for, that's $1,100, and for, $300 more. So that's not really worth it, in my opinion, at that point, because you might as well want to go, at that price point, you can start looking at the Core i7, which will give you better performance, and the you'll have 16 gigabytes of RAM. I don't believe the Core i7 comes in 8. It's all 16. And they can also get the Core i7 in 32. So this is expensive. Now, if you are a student, teacher in the military, you will get, I think, a 10% discount, if I'm not mistaken. So you can get discounted prices there. Let's take some of your questions. I know I was a little bit late today. Is the Surface Pro X difficult to use without a desk? I don't like the lapability portion of it. You can use it in the lap, not ideal. I think people have done videos on it as well. I'm not a fan of that. I think it's better to use it on a desk with the keyboard cover, or detach the keyboard cover and use it as a tablet, okay? I think that's your best bet on the sofa, on a bed. But keyboard on it, not the best in terms of what they call lapability. That's my opinion on it, at least. Can you put an anti-reflective screen protector on it? I don't see why not, so I guess that might be one solution. Good to see you, Yoshi's Productions. Paul is saying, I like the way the keyboard lifts up on the Surface laptop. Yeah, so the laptop we'll get to in a moment. That's going to be a pull-forward design. We showed that a little bit on the last live stream, and of course you saw it in my video. Do you think that the brightness of the display will be enough to make up for the glossiness if using it and mounted in a vehicle with tinted windows or using it outside in sunlight? So it is a reflective display, and you can sort of see it here. You can really see it here. Yeah, I think it's bright enough. I think I measured 441. They're saying 450. It's pretty bright. You know, in certain lighting conditions, if the sun is glaring on it, you will notice it, and you might have some issues. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's what's going to be as far as glossiness is concerned, as far as glare is concerned. So that is something to be aware of. Yeah, I think the platinum looks good. I also think the graphite looks good. The port situation is justifies the dongle. So you can see I'm using a dongle here. In fact, I want to plug it in. And good news, people, you can use USB-C. So that's my Dell USB-C charger. I'm not using the Surface Connect port, and look at that. You can charge on this. And that's another thing as far as ports are concerned. 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports. They are full service. They do data charge and display out. So what does that mean? It means you can now charge with USB-C. You can take one charger with you for your smartphone, for the Surface Pro 8, and you don't have to take multiple chargers. That is a big win in my book. What is gone on this? Well, you don't get a USB-A port. Okay, no USB-A port. There's no micro SD card slot. I didn't find any on this. There's no storage expansion other than that replaceable SSD. Not a big deal, but just something to be aware of. But that's it. You get these pretty much 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports and the Surface Connect port, which is right here, right? So you got the 2 Thunderbolts and the Surface Connect. You got your power button there. And on the other side, you do get your 3.5 millimeter audio jack and, of course, a volume rocker up and down, nothing on the top. So that's pretty much it when it comes to ports. So, again, this is a portable device meant to be taken with you, used with the pen. Now, as far as LTE is concerned and 5G, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you there's no 5G option this year. Okay, maybe that'll come next year. I haven't heard anything. And LTE won't be available until later on. I don't have a date, and that will be on the commercial-based models. I don't believe it will be on the consumer-based models. Something to be aware of. So Leo likes the platinum color. I feel like the graphite will have more noticeable scratches over time. Yeah, we'll see. Time will tell, of course. Does the flat form factor of the pen make it a bit uncomfortable to hold for extended amount of time? The Apple Pencil seems better in in that regard. Yeah. So what you're talking about, Amha, is the pen here, and we can take a look at it here. So this is the pen, and it's the Surface Slim Pen 2, and this one, it's flat. It's flat because it can fit in the keyboard, obviously. It's much like a carpenter's pen. You know, you get that. I find it pretty comfortable. I have no issues with it, but you can use other pens that support the Microsoft Pen Protocol, which used to be called the N-Trig pen technology. So you can get third-party pens that will work with this device. So you have the option, of course, to get a different pen. But I have no problem with it. It's been comfortable so far. I've used the previous iteration with the Surface Pro X. I've had no issues with it. So it was pretty good in that regard. And I thought the haptic feedback was good on it as well. Now, the mini SSD does look difficult to find. Yeah, that is one thing that I'm not crazy about. They went with a non-standard, hard-to-find form factor with regard to that replaceable SSD. But, of course, space is at a premium on this device. There's not a lot of room. And the fact that we could even upgrade it ourselves, I think, is a big win. Now, the question is, can you find one of these? You're going to have to hunt around for them. If I find a good price or a good place you can find it, maybe check Amazon. I haven't even checked yet. You might be able to do that. My recommendation is, anyway, don't get that 128 version. Go get one with a higher storage capacity. Spend the extra money. You will regret it because you will run out of space. I guarantee it. 128 in 2021 is just not enough. And after we're done, I'm going to start looking for where we can buy these. The thing has a graphic chip. How super important is the CPU? So it has built, and we're talking about the Surface Pro 8. You're using integrated Iris Xe graphics. There's no discrete GPU, although you can connect to an external GPU via one of the Thunderbolt 4 ports. So you have that option. But the pen does have some sort of enhancements this time around that the CPU, I think, does help in that regard. Now, I have the Core i5 model, and inking on it has been pretty good. I have not had any issues. Now, if you click the top of the button on the top, you can see here, and I could load in a whiteboard here, and you see, I can see this is cool. I'm left-handed, but I'll show you because of the camera angle. I'll have to use my right hand, but there's no jaggedness. You do have a haptic feedback. You actually feel a little bit of it hitting the screen here, and it's pretty interesting and kind of cool. I kind of think this is good. I'm not a digital artist, so that's one thing you're going to have to be aware of. But it is pressure sensitive, so the more pressure you put, the darker the line will get. So you artists out there, I think you will pretty much like it. I don't think there's too much negativity. Now, I'm sure there will be videos on artists out there using this, so that might be one way to go as far as this becoming a digital tool for your artwork. That might be one way to go. And I think a lot of artists are going to look at this device simply because of its portability, because of the pen. And again, these are expensive accessories with the pen and the let's see how much it costs, because if we go down here, the pen, and if we configure that, let's go to my video real quick because I have the links there. So the signature type keyboard with the Slim Pen 2, if we go to that, you can see here starts at $279, and that's with the pen and that's with the keyboard combo. So you're getting them both here. To buy them individually is kind of expensive. But I would go with this. If you're going to get this device, I think these are must-have accessories. Why Microsoft didn't put it in the box like some of its competition? Well, I think they're pulling an Apple on us, right? They wanted to make some money, and it is definitely an expensive proposition. Even with the 10% discount, yes, I agree, William, this is still very expensive. If you use it in bed, it always sits with the screen leaning away from you. Yeah, again, I don't think this is ideal for in the bed or in lappability. It's in your lap. This is not ideal, especially with that keyboard cover. The kickstand digs into you. So I'm not a fan of that. I think this is better if you're going to use it with the keyboard cover like a laptop on a desk or a table. And that is a trade-off. Some people like that form factor. Some people do not. But as far as using it as a tablet, that's fine in bed. That's fine when you're sitting on the sofa and just wanting to surf the web and say watching TV or getting some work done. That is just the way it is with this form factor. It's a very popular device. Now it's going to sell much better, I think, than the Surface Laptop Studio, which we can take a look at in a moment. But the other thing you want to know is, like its Surface counterpart, like the Surface Laptop Studio, its brother or bigger brother, if you want to call it, or younger brother, since it is newer, the Surface Pro 8 does have 120 hertz display. Now, this is 60 hertz out of the box, right? So if you go to the settings, and we can go here, and I can go to the display settings, and if you go to, and let it load up in a moment. Our network is busy right now with this live stream. So if you scroll down, and one thing to note, this is a Dolby Vision display. That's a first for this. And if you go to the advanced display settings here, and you can go change the screen refresh rate. So here, choose a refresh rate. Right now I'm on 120, but if you click on it, obviously you can choose 60. I'm going to keep it on 120 because I like the way it scrolls. I like the way it really is very fluid, right? And that's one of the benefits of having 120 hertz refresh rate. Do you think that this will have any issues with productivity? This will be my first Surface Pro and haven't seen much issues with them overall. I plan to get the i7 model. I don't plan to game on this. Oh, I think it'll be fine for productivity. I've already tested Microsoft Office, doing emails on it. Web browsing has been great, especially, again, with that 120 hertz refresh rate, with the fact that this is a 3:2 aspect ratio, so you'll do less scrolling when it comes to web browsing. You'll see more on the display, right? So if you're doing scrolling, and again, it's hard to show it on a live stream, but it is so smooth with this 120 hertz. Now, the trade-off and the price you're going to pay for having a high refresh rate, of course, it'll eat battery life. Expect 1 to 2 more hours if you use the 60 hertz setting. If you're going to go with the 120 hertz, expect 1 to 2 hours less. Now, I'm seeing about 7 to 8 hours on this with the 120 hertz. So if you tick off the 60 hertz, then you could probably get about close to 10 hours, depending, of course, what you're doing. And again, I really want to emphasize that because your mileage may vary. Everybody uses their devices very differently. We've got 100 people watching. That'll update in a moment. So welcome, everybody. It's good to see you. Back again with another live stream. It's Andrew here. And if you are new to the channel, why not subscribe? We've got a lot of great stuff on the way. I did drop my Surface Pro 8 video. So please do me that favor. Check it out. And also hit that like button, people. This helps get it spread out over YouTube. It helps grow the channel. So any kind of your engagement will help in this regard. Super chats, super stickers are open. Memberships are open. That all helps support the channel. And it all leads to channel growth. So I much appreciate any support you can give at this moment. Now, John Henrik has been using the iPad Air 2020, 256 gigs, and loves the selection in the App Store. Yeah, the pen sticks magnetically to the top. Surface should offer more apps and more color variants, and why not 5G, 4G coming up? So you bring up some good points, and a lot of people are going to want to choose between, say, I guess the iPad Pro or something like this, or even an iPad Air, as John Henrik has. So the differences are here. This is an actual laptop that runs desktop applications, as you can see here. This is a desktop version of Chrome, and of course you have Microsoft Office. Everything you'd get on your desktop you have here. So that's one advantage I think this has over an iPad, although the iPad's come a long way. The other thing is the App Store on the iPad is superior. I don't think it's any question that there are more apps there than there would be in the Windows Store. So when you go to the store here, and I haven't even gone on it yet on this one, let's see what happens, but you can see here, they're going to be adding more and more. And this is a revamped store for Windows 11. I still need to delve more into it. But apparently this is going to be a much improved store, and it has shown some much better applications so far. And the other thing that's coming, and it's not out yet, is Android apps will be in that store as well. That will be coming via an update. We don't have a time for that, date certain for that yet from Microsoft, but they are working on it from what we understand. So a lot of people are going to want to choose. Do you choose the iPad? Do you choose the Surface? It's just a matter of, do you want a device that can be a hybrid device? And number two, do you want a device that has versatility to allow you to run desktop apps? That's big for some people in certain markets and so forth. So that's something to be aware of. I'm going to miss some of your comments and questions. I really apologize. It's pretty lively today. I really don't like how heavy it is. Surface Pro 8 weighs 1.96 pounds versus the 12-inch Galaxy Tab that weighs 1.25 pounds. That's a big difference for a tablet. Yeah, it gets a little bit heavy. And now if you do detach it, of course, and by the way, this is a very strong magnetic connection. And you can see it here. I'm using it, and of course I got things plugged into it, but it's not the lightest tablet, let's be honest. But it is definitely portable. At 2 pounds, you want to use it in your hand, you can. I didn't find it too uncomfortable after a long period of time as a tablet. But I do think the benefit, you really get the most benefit of using this in laptop mode, to be honest with you, at least for me. And that's with the keyboard cover, with the pen in it, of course, so you can use it. It's there if you need it. And I think that's where the benefit really lies for this type of device. But if you want to use it as a tablet now and then, it gives you that option. That's the way I look at that. So Nadine says, I don't know. One of the best designer art apps is Procreate, was created for the iPad for only $10. Updates are free. And there's a lot of the conundrum that the artists are going to have. You know, the apps are going to drive a lot of the sales and gravitate towards the iPad. I agree. So it's just a matter of, what are you going to use this device for? And is the right tools available in terms of the applications and stuff like that? We only have 39 likes, but we have basically 100 people watching. What's the deal, people? Hit that like button. Let's get this spread out over YouTube so more people can see this. Jeremy says, I looked at the price of the Surface Laptop Studio spec'd out, and I don't think that device is worth the price. You can get a 9510 from Dell, of course, the XPS line, for the same price with a better CPU, amazing screen, and comparable keyboards. And I agree. I think the Dell XPS 15, to me, is one of the best laptops of the year, especially with that 3.5K OLED display. To me, is pretty amazing. I got to say, one of the best displays I've ever seen. Bar none. I don't think there's a lot of competition for that display. I think Dell did a home run with that. It's from Samsung, of course, who makes that panel, and it is pretty amazing. So let's transition. Let's bring in the Surface Laptop Studio, and give me a second here. And let's put it next to the Surface Pro 8. Let's zoom out a little bit here. All right, so we have the bigger Surface Laptop Studio here, and let me zoom out on this camera as well, and you can see the glare, and it is getting pretty dirty as well, the display. So you can see it here on the left, and again, what plagues this one is also plaguing this one, a glossy, reflective display. If you're a matte display person, I am, you're not going to be happy with this. I can tell you that right off the bat. And the face recognition didn't work that time. I think it has to do with the angle I'm on and also the studio lights. So what do we have here? So this is a very different form factor. Now, this is going to replace the Surface Book, which was a detachable that they're no longer going to make, which some people are sad about. But apparently people didn't detach it. That was the problem. So you have now a pull-forward design, which we saw with the HP Elite Folio and the Spectre Folio before that, and the Acer Concept D. So you have this loose hinge, which I'm not crazy about, and there's a fabric on the bottom here of the hinge, and you can use it in, you can actually use this as like a presentation mode where the screen is on the other side, as you can see here. So something like this. Oops. And you can see it there. I'll get out of your way. You can do it as a presentation mode, and of course flip it back over, use it in laptop mode. And then of course you have what they call the stage mode. Okay, and that's just with the touchpad showing. And then of course they have tablet mode, or what they call studio mode, like the Surface Studio, the big desktop version, they made. But the difference is there's no friction on this, and this is the problem. This is too loose. You only get a few stages where you can actually use this. If this was a friction type of display here with this hinge, you would have more stops. And I think we saw that with the Acer Concept D, which I like better. This is a little too loose for me, and this is also very dirty. But the good news is that this uses the pen, right? So the same pen, which is that Surface Slim Pen 2, actually works for this, right? So if I go here, it slips underneath here. And let me see if I could do this. Well, there it is, and there it goes. You saw it there. So what we're having here, and I can put it up like this. So it is charging and is storing on the underside. It is out of the way. It's out of sight. And it's kind of cool. It's a really strong magnet, and it's hard to take off. See, I'm having to use almost two hands to use it, but it sticks magnetically and it charges and it works well. And just like this device, this does really have that haptic engine, of course, on this pen, and it works really well. So if you start to do the same thing, and again, I'm left-handed, but I'll use my right hand here, and I take a red line, and it works very well with that haptic feedback within the pen. And I think it works in conjunction with the CPU, if I'm understanding that technology correctly. I'm going to miss some of your comments. I apologize in advance. Looks like the very low latency. Yeah, it's excellent for inking and for taking notes. Now, this is a heavier device, of course, 4 pounds, 1.8 or so kilograms, way too heavy to use as a tablet in your hand. But on the desk, it's fine. If you do it like this, you can sort of use it like this, although it starts to go down. And here you can see it. Again, I'm left-handed, so maybe it's better I use my left hand. But you can take notes and stuff, and you can see from the top-down shot here, maybe a little blown out because of the camera, but it's hard to show it in a live stream. But it is a great inking device, I got to say. I'm not an artist, so take it for what it's worth. Bridge cover is a great alternative. So I guess you can get the bridge cover for this, right? They do make one for the Surface line. I look at the price of the laptop Studio spec'd out, and I don't think the device is worth the price. You can get a 9510. We talked about that. Absolutely, I agree with you on that. I'm sorry if I already repeated that. Cables hanging off the monitor is weird. Yeah, well, that's the price you pay for having only 2 ports on this. And it is in a place where it's on the top, so you do see it there. There's no question about that. I don't have the Surface dock, Darren, with the Surface Pro, since it lacks ports. You can get the Surface dock. It has a Surface Connect port on both devices, so you will have no issues regarding that. Now, switching to positions on this has been a little bit awkward on the Surface laptop as well. So I'm not the craziest about that. I'm not that crazy about it. Can the screen tilt 360 degree in any angle? So I'm assuming you're talking about this one. So you can go here. You can use that as a presentation mode, but then it's loose. So you have to either go to laptop or to stage mode. You cannot go in between, or you can go to what they call studio mode, which is really tablet mode. Those are your options on that. Okay, Arfaz, you're spamming the chat, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. I already answered that question. I'm going to have to ban you, my friend. I'm so sorry. You are gone. I banned you because you cannot spam the chat. And let me just reiterate. If you've been to any of my live streams, I'll get to your question eventually. Hopefully, I'm one person. But if you spam the chat, you're going to get the fate like Afraz, whatever his name is. You're going to get banned because it ruins the experience for everybody else. So he's been booted. Maybe I'll unban him at some point, but right now he's gone. Hit the road, Jack. Surface has more ports versus a tablet. Well, the Surface has the two, Christine, the Surface has the two Thunderbolt 4 ports on this one, right? And on this one, you get the Surface Connect port over here. You can see it there. And then, of course, you get the two Thunderbolts as well. So, yes, you do get the ports, but there is no there's no Type A port. There's no SD card slot on this one. I don't believe there is one, right? No. So you really are lacking the ports. You're going to be living the dongle life, and you're already living the dongle life with Apple, although I'm hearing they are bringing some of those ports back. So we'll have to see. Yeah, and I thank you, Paul. Yeah, don't spam the chat, guys. I'm trying to respond to this. They help answer as well, so I appreciate their support as well, their help. And hit the like button, people. That would help out. And if you're not already subscribed, do so. We got 102 of you watching. We only have 58 likes. Not good. That's not a good like ratio. So either you don't like it, this live stream, or I don't know what's the problem, but we'll try to figure it out. All right. With the Surface Pro 8, when you prop the keyboard up and type on it, do you feel the bend of the keyboard? Okay, so you're propping it up here. Okay, now it's propped up. Do I feel the bend? It does move a little bit, but it is a lot more sturdy than previous iterations. But just by the nature of its design, you will feel a little bit of flex. But it is actually pretty comfortable. I actually am pretty impressed with this type cover in the time that I've had it so far. It's been pretty good. I agree. I think it's a pretty good laptop. It just depends on what your use case scenario is. Use it or lose it. Haha. I don't know what you're talking about, but there you go. The Surface Studio screen is so big that I at start lose where the Surface Mobile mouse is. Tried to install it again, hopefully fixed now. So, Dion, do you have the Surface? Oh, you have the Surface Studio. So you have the Surface Studio, the 27-inch, the desktop, if I'm not mistaken, right? Okay, there you go. Always wanted one of those. I never got one. But at this point, I obviously, at this point, I would have, it's a little bit outdated for today's specs, but it still has a great form factor. I'd love to have that as just a display only. That would have been great. So it's too wobbly for that. It depends on which one you're using. So you're talking about the screen is wobbling, like this one here. It's actually pretty sturdy. And this one, of course, it's pretty sturdy as well. Why is that on there? Okay, oops. Let me go off here. Okay, there we go. How is the battery life on the Studio so far? I keep seeing different numbers from 10 hours to 5 hours. All right, I can tell you what I got in my test, which is a continuous web surfing test over Wi-Fi at 150 nits. I got a little bit over 13 hours, 13 plus hours. So what does that mean? If you're going to do real-world mixed usage, you can expect 10 to 11 hours, depending on what you're doing. That's the best I can tell you. It's a pretty good battery. It's 56.3 watt hours, not the biggest battery out there. And considering it has a discrete GPU, the RTX 3050 Ti, that's not too bad. Not too bad. So battery life is actually pretty good. Now, for those wondering, I will release my video on that in the next day or so stay tuned. Let me just check to see how the video that I released yesterday is doing. It was doing very well with the Surface Pro 8. Let's see if this live stream, yeah, still doing very well. In fact, it is, I'm looking at right now, it's hit almost 6,000 views. Pretty good. It's still going strong. So very, very good turnout for that video. And it's showing up a lot in YouTube search. I'm getting a lot of views from YouTube search, which is a good sign that this is a very popular search term. So that means people are interested in it, of course. Yash is asking, what should I get? Surface Studio Pro 8, I need more battery life. Well, battery life you'll do better, I think, on the Surface Laptop Studio, the one on the left. I got to figure out how to get off that screen there. Oh, so this is that. And then this one, oh, how is that screen still on there? Oh, God. I've got this, I can't get off that screen. Isn't that crazy? Wow, there must be something I must have hit. Look at that. See, if I go to this one, it's there. But that should come off. Let me see here. Okay. Now it should be good. There we go. Okay, I fixed it. Sorry, people. But this is what happens when you do things live. Okay. Can the Snap-on keyboards from older models be used with this for people who have older models, or does this one, do they have to buy a new one? I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't have an old keyboard here. I thought I read that it does work, but I can't be certain on that. It just won't have the pen, the place says charge the pen. And I don't know if there's a separate accessory that will charge the pen without that keyboard. I don't know. If anybody knows that answer, let me know. Again, I didn't receive this from Microsoft. Let me be clear. There were press briefings that I was not part of that might have answered these questions, and those people got review units. I did not. And if you watched my live stream last week, at the evening live stream, the After Dark, which I'm going to start doing, I think, on a regular basis, because it was very good, and I cursed on it, so that was fun. That one, I talked about what I thought was CNET was the worst review I've ever, pretty much. I mean, that was just atrocious what they, and they were saying, well, it's a companion piece to the written review. That's no excuse. Don't put out something in video form, which is the most current type of form where people are looking to find out the most information. Don't put out that low quality, low production value crap and then call it a review when you didn't give any benchmarks or tell about any performance. All you did was bash about the hinge and a few other things, but not really give us any real world performance numbers that we can use, such as battery life, such as performance numbers, so we can gauge in terms of making a buying decision. That was terrible. And I didn't care for any other big name news organizations or news outlets that are, to me, a dying breed. In fact, I wouldn't go to them for any more information at this point. I think this is the best type of way, not only my channel, but other channels like mine that give you the information you need to make a purchase decision. And then, of course, they gave it to these personalities that don't even review these products. I saw a guy who does sneakers getting one from Microsoft. And what does sneakers have to do with a Surface Laptop Studio? That, to me, is a stretch. And I don't think his audience liked it either because nobody watched it. It got barely more than I did, and I'm a much smaller channel. I don't have millions of subscribers like that person did. But I don't care because I went out and I bought these laptops. I bought both of these. These were very expensive. This one cost me $2,100. This one about $1,200, all with tax and everything. You're looking over $1,200, plus the pen, which I use on both. So that was another $140 or so, whatever that was. So a very, very expensive proposition that I paid. I didn't get review units from Microsoft, and that's fine because I'm not beholden to them. I'm not, if they want to send it to me, I'm all open arms for that. I'll welcome that. But if they're not, that's fine too. I will give you an honest, raw opinion, unbiased opinion, and that's it, But some of the stuff I saw on it, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. They can do better. I'm one person, and I have higher production quality than what I saw. Brad H. said, we appreciate putting your own dollars on the table for us to give us comprehensive reviews. Yeah, I love doing this, and obviously I want to keep the lights on, so I need to make money. But at the same time, I enjoy doing this. This is fun for me to look at this kind of stuff. This is fun for me. I enjoy taking a look at new products, cutting edge products, or maybe not so cutting edge, but at least getting a chance to look at it and bring you my opinion to help you make an informed decision. That's the way I look at it. And I agree. I think that is the best way to look at it. So please join the membership, guys. Let's support Andrew. Yeah, so thank you, Paul. Yeah, there's 3 membership tiers. I'm going to just start doing more stuff with it. I did a members-only live stream a few months back. I will start doing more stuff. But yeah, it helps support the channel. We got a nice, healthy membership going. And also super chats and super stickers also help. That really helps me get these devices so I could bring you all this stuff. Again, I didn't get it a week before like some of these other outlets where they had it for a week and they're able to use it. So I was at a distinct disadvantage right off the bat. But my videos are doing very well. My Surface Pro 8 was, at least for me, was #1 in search this morning. So that's good. I just released it. So it looks like people are gravitating towards the video. It's doing well. So I can't complain. So this is all based on what I bought. Again, not influenced by anybody. And of course, I'll never be influenced by anybody. I'll let you know. If somebody's paying me, you'll be the first person to know. I'm not being paid by any of these brands. And I'm not giving copy approval. That's the other thing. All right. And I agree, this is the best way to do it. Do more live after dark live streams. Yeah, I'm going to start doing them if I have some time during the week. Slim Pen 2 charger can be bought separately. So I thought I heard that. So you can buy, go over to Microsoft. If you don't want to get the keyboard cover, you just want to get the pen, then you can get that to charge it. So yeah, I didn't think they would leave anybody in the lurch as far as the pen is concerned. What temperature does the fan turn on in the Surface Laptop Studio? And I can give you a little preview. That's going to come in the upcoming review. But I can tell you that it will reach, and let me look at my screenshot here. And maybe you can see it here, or I can connect this. Hold on. Let me connect it up so you can see it nice and clear. Let that load in. Hold on. And there it is. Okay, so I did my Prime 95 test that I ran, not mine, but Prime 95. And what you can see here is it would get up to 99 degrees Celsius when I ran that, right? And then it would go down, and actually it was pretty good. I didn't see too much throttling. It would go down to about 3.4, 3.2, 3.4, and maintain a continuous clock speed, producing pretty good performance. Now, I'm not going to say this is going to blow anything out of the water, but as far as thermals are concerned, I didn't notice much throttling. It maintained a pretty good clock speed. Now, if you could look at the wattage here, it did 39 watts. It's capable of about 58.19 watts. Maintain a nice 3940 watt output. Pretty good. Now, surface temperatures I'll talk about, it never got overly hot. And that's because I think this design, and let's see which one will show us there. This platform here, this platform here, and you can see it here, works. Whether you like, if it's ugly, whether you think it's ugly or not, that's another story, but it actually works. So to me, the heat will dissipate through the sides. So if you're on a blanket or a bed or somewhere on the carpet, on the floor, it's not going to be any issue because it's coming out, the heat's being dissipated on the sides. So actually pretty good. Is it a good time to upgrade the Microsoft Book 3? So the Surface Book 3. Well, if you're coming from the Book 3, you have to understand this is not going to detach. You're going to lose that ability. If you use that as a tablet, you may want to look at something else, maybe the Surface Pro 8, but that doesn't have a discrete GPU. What would have been great is if they made a dock for the Surface Pro 8 that would have, or like a keyboard dock, much like the Surface Book, but that would have a discrete GPU option in it. That would have been pretty interesting. Kind of like what this would have been, but with a dock where you can actually get all this stuff and just put this screen on here, if you know what I'm saying. So Jeremy's saying the Acer Swift S versus the Surface Laptop Studio. Which one would you prefer? Okay, so that's a difficult question. I think the Swift X is good, and I like the Swift X, but I'm not crazy about the 16:9 aspect ratio that I believe that it has, right? So I think display-wise, I like the Surface Laptop Studio. Performance-wise, I think the Swift X I think was a little bit better, if I'm not mistaken. And that has the Ryzen 5800U, and that will give you better multi-core performance. But I think form factor is going to play a big part. Pen support is going to play a big part. And that's not something you get with the Swift X. So very different devices, actually. Swift X is a clamshell. This is a convertible type device, a very unique in a sense, but not the first time we've seen it type device. It's not an original design, but it is a more versatile design. So very hard question to answer simply because of everybody has a personal preference as far as use case scenario is concerned. Go buy the Surface Book 3. According to Mark Titans, you're going to get a lot of varied answers. So Surface Book no longer being made by Microsoft. It's gone. So pick one up if you can right now. If you are into that form factor, you won't see it again. And apparently, from what I understand, Microsoft didn't sell too many of them. And the ones that they didn't the users didn't attach the display like they thought they would. So I guess that's one of the reasons why they went to this design with the pull forward design, as you see here. So something like that, right? Instead of detachable, that's what you get. Pretty good live stream. We got 77 likes. We have 92 of you watching. Pretty good. Sorry about I started late a little bit, so there you go. But we are now at we're about almost at an hour. I don't think we're going to go more than an hour today because I know football has started. A lot of you are going to watch football, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. That's American football for those wondering. We have a super chat from Hamid. All right. I kind of missed that for a second there. 15 euros from Hamid Boris, and I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you for your support. I don't see a question there, but that's fine. I'm so happy you're able to contribute and show up today, and hope you're enjoying the live stream. So thank you so much. Yes, I believe that is very generous, Nadine. Thank you, Hamid. Yep. Could the Surface be a laptop for work for the Pro 8? Don't care to use it as a tablet because iPad is way to go if you want a tablet only. Yeah. One thing I found very good with this device, with this Surface Pro 8 on the right here, is I found that with this keyboard cover, I'm very productive on the go or in an office environment or on a table. This has been rock solid, especially with integrated Microsoft Office, that you can use Microsoft Office on it. Email was great on this. I like its versatility. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to lie. I do like it. So yes, you can definitely use that in a work environment. I know a lot of people do. Hit the like button. Yeah, that would be great. And anybody who's not subscribed, like I said, a lot of stuff coming to the studio. I will have a lot more on the way, so you don't want to miss it. The buy here, bang for buck, is a Surface Laptop Studio. Now, here's the thing, though. There are laptops in that category, or that price range, I should say, that you need to start looking at, and that would be the Dell XPS 159510. That display is absolutely gorgeous on that one. I love it. It's bright, sharp, covers the color gamut almost perfectly, color accurate like you wouldn't believe. And it is a touch display, multi-touch, no pen support, but it is a bright, sharp display, 3.5K. The only thing that the Surface Laptop Studio might have an edge on that is the fact that it has the higher refresh rate, 120 hertz. If they put 120 hertz on that OLED 3.5K display, that would be unreal. That display would be unreal. I would love that. My Giants are going to lose against the Cowboys. I hope not. But the Giants always disappoint me. But they did win last week, so hopefully they'll win this week. To the hated Cowboys, but I'm sure that's America's team, right? So are you I see you're like a Cleveland fan, I guess, Jeremy, I'm assuming. Do you like the Browns? I don't even know how they're doing this year. I have to look. Pro 8 and Pro X, SQ2, my favorite. Yeah, so a lot of people, Alex, like that form factor. We saw it first with the Surface Pro X. And by the way, the Surface Pro X didn't really get a big bump this year. I think all it got was a little spec bump, right? I don't think we saw anything as far as a new chipset or anything like that. And I was hoping that we would kind of see SQ3 when they announced these other laptops by Microsoft. But I'm a big fan of Windows on ARM, and I still believe in it, and I still believe it's going to get better. And from what I'm hearing, the next chip generation on that is going to be fantastic. It's going to have some really good performance numbers on it. You lost battery power and GPU power after attaching the panel on the book. Not good. Yeah. So that was one of the issues that people had because all the GPU was in the Surface, in the keyboard dock or the base, and then the guts of the rest of it, the CPU and everything else, were in the display, behind the display. So a lot of engineering, a lot of difficulties they had with that. It had the fulcrum hinge that people didn't like because it left a gap in the middle. But you did lose battery life. I think I had the original Surface Book. I only got about less than 4 hours on the tablet only. But with the base attached, it got more than 10 plus hours consistently over the years. So it was actually pretty good in that regard. Yeah, thank you, Raphael. You got it. And thank you for helping me being a moderator. Thank you so much for your help. I really miss being able to attend consistently with school and exams. That's no problem, Paul. You always are here. I'm glad to have you. Welcome here, and good luck with your school and exams. Those come first, of course. So best of luck in that regard. But anytime you show up, we love it. Thank you. Have you tested other Bluetooth components with the Surface Pro 8 headphones, earphones? No, I'm going to have to do that before I do my full review on that. I haven't had any issues with connecting a mouse or anything like that with Bluetooth, so that's been working fine so far. But I haven't tested any Bluetooth earbuds yet or headphones. I will do that shortly. You can't use a Surface dial on the screen of the Surface as you would with the Surface Studio. I don't know about that. Does anybody have any information, or is that true, John? I don't know. I don't have any information on whether the Surface dial will work on that. Why wouldn't it work? It is a Surface device, but is it not compatible? Let me know. Now, have I installed Windows 11 on any unsupported devices? Not yet. I've been holding off on a lot of Windows 11 upgrades. I still want to wait and see a little bit. I haven't had a lot of time, but using them natively on these two devices that you see here has been fine. I have not had any real issues. You cannot. Wow, Quanti, I didn't know that. Excuse me. I did not know that. So we got a pretty good live stream here today. Let's see, we're at 58 minutes. We have about 90 or so of you watching. Pretty good turnout. Let me go to just to see if everything is looking okay. And I don't know how much longer we're going to go. We're approaching, and right now I'm doing the approach to 120,000 subscribers. We're going to hit 25 million views. Wow, I can't believe it even saying that. Where'd all the time go? I hit my and for those that didn't join us on the last live stream this past week, the After Dark, 600th upload on the channel. So I've done 600 uploads, 601 now, 602 at this one, since I started the channel end of 2015, early 2016. And a lot of sweat and tears, a lot of sleepless nights, but I couldn't have done it without you guys. So thank you for the support, unbelievably, through the years. And we're only going to get better, and we're going to continue to grow. I have not seen the growth like some channels with big growth spurts and then nothing. I've had a nice, consistent, steady growth. Slow but steady wins the race, as they say. So there you go. It's working out pretty well. Last couple of months, about 2 months, about 40% increase in views. So I'm seeing a month-to-month increase. It's been pretty good. Any idea when the Acer easel lineup refresh is coming out? I'm hearing soon, and hopefully Acer will send me one. So they did send me the last version. Hopefully they'll be good. Is 120 hertz as iPad Pro level? Yeah, it is good. 120 hertz is 120 hertz. If you ever had a smartphone and went to a higher refresh rate and then try to go to a 60 hertz refresh rate, for instance, it's a big difference. Hard to go back. And 120 hertz is so smooth, so fluid. You will notice the difference. They do a good job here on this Pixel Sense Flow display on both the laptop Studio and on the Pro 8. So, Baraboo Live, 120 hertz equals 120 hertz. iPad Pro is a toy. Surface is a PC. Some people believe that's what they believe. Okay. I gave you data about the new Acers. Yes, that's what I was trying to. Yes, thank you, Linus. That's where I heard it. Yes, there are new ones coming. I will be in contact with Acer about that. I want to thank you, Linux, Tuck's friend. Thank you for letting me know about that. That was helpful. Thank you. It goes to show you your channel is more about quality than quantity. Thank you, William. And I thank you for being such a great supporter of the channel. I really do appreciate it. A lot of great contributions from you as well, being a moderator as well as just commenting on the products, good and bad. And I think you are honest. And that's what we try to be here, is honest and open about these devices. And that's the best way we can present this to the purchasing audience. People who want to buy this stuff. You want to get honesty. And that's what bothered me a little bit about this release with the Surface line, where Microsoft sent it to some of these non-tech related outlets. And again, I don't blame them for wanting to do this kind of stuff, but that's not doing any service, or it's doing a disservice to a sense to those who really want to buy this, who take this stuff seriously, to give it to some of these personalities who are going to give a glowing review no matter what. They're not going to they're not going to really point out the flaws, in my opinion. And that's a shame because you're doing a disservice to those who are needing to make a real purchase decision with their hard-earned money, and you're not getting the real story, the real picture from them. And that's a shame. But I do my best. I go out of pocket trying to keep this channel alive, and I go out of pocket for these type of devices, and I'll do the same for the new MacBooks when they come out. I'm definitely looking forward to those as well. No problem, William. You always give the opinions on these products, Brokan, and I appreciate that. Honesty goes a long way. I try to be upfront, very transparent. I always tell you in every video if I bought it or if it was given to me as a loaner, as a review unit. And if it's sponsored, I'll tell you, but I haven't done any sponsor stuff in a long, long time. I may have one coming, though, and I'm going to let you know. I'm not going to hide that. Problem with Surface 2 is you can't get longer warranty. Yeah, well, that's another problem. What does it have, a standard 1-year warranty? You cannot get anything beyond that. But I think if you buy it from Best Buy, you might be, I know you're not in the U.S., but if you're in the U.S., if you buy it from Best Buy, you can get an extended warranty or the Geek Squad, whatever they offer there. Geek Squad warranty, whatever it is. Content quality is king. Thank you, Linux. Shiny stuff. Production value does not really add value. Well, I try to give you some production value, obviously. I just don't do a turn on the camera and go and an unedited type thing. Some people do very well with that. I do give you a polished product, professional. Production quality is high on my channel. I try to take pride in that. But I try to give you the product is first and foremost. I'm in the background. Product is first and foremost, giving you the right information at the right time. For me, a long warranty is key. I trust Microsoft. They support my Surface Studio 2 even after my 2-year warranty ended. And that's a good sign of a company standing by their product even beyond the 2 years. That's pretty good. I'm glad to hear that. You can buy it through Microsoft Business Portal, and you can always buy a premium warranty up to 5 years with accidental damage protection. So Quanti, thank you for that info. That's great. So if you go buy the business versions of these, you do get an option to buy the premium warranty. Highly recommended if you need that. Especially on a Surface Pro 8 or this one with a hinge that we don't know what the long-term effects of that loose hinge is with that fabric. Yep. Yeah, so that's good news, right, John? Very expensive, of course, and if you're buying it from the business channel, I'm sure a lot of businesses are buying in bulk for their fleet or their lineup, and so they're going to want to get some discounts. I'm sure they get discounts like they do with the other OEMs. Who knows? All right. So this is a little bit more than an hour. Football's on, people, so we're going to call it a live stream here, but I want to say thank you to everybody for stopping by. Got a lot more to come. Next up is my full review of the Surface Laptop Studio, and after that, I do have this full review, Surface Pro 8, and then when we're done with the Surface products, moving on, we're going to have the HP Spectre coming in hopefully soon, 16-inch, hopefully OLED. We'll see that soon. And then I have other stuff, a bunch of other stuff waiting in the wings. So if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, people. You don't want to miss anything. And until next week, I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.